Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 47 of Verbal Graffiti with your host, Brian Glass, aka the B-Man, the People's Degenerate. Thank you very much for watching with us today, whether that be from your prison cell or from your shared apartment with the two roommates you found off of Craigslist. I've been there, I've done that, and I'm still judging you for it. Regardless of where you are and whoever you are, we really do appreciate you tuning in to watch this smut, whatever the hell this thing is. I'm a little late with this, so my apologies for that. I am not like super into the internet world, but I saw recently that, what's his name? Andrew Tater Tot is now out of prison or out of house arrest, so he's able to travel about wherever he wants to go. So from one alpha to another, hey, we welcome you back into the world, and we're glad you're free. I didn't really look into the case. I'm not really sure what was going on, but hey, I'm always looking out for all the alphas out there, and I mean, who's more alpha than Andrew Tater Tot? So hey, good to have another man free. One issue, though, that I want to bring up, it has nothing to do with Andrew Tater Tot. This one is where I reside. I reside in a suburban neighborhood, and there's this trend that is popping up that I find troublesome. I'm an active road runner, so I am seeing this a lot within the 5-mile radius of where I live. And what I'm speaking about is homeowners, of which I am not one, so maybe I shouldn't be judging here. But hey, I'm the B-man. That's what I do. I'm seeing lots of homeowners who are putting trash on their front lawn with a cardboard sign in front of that trash, kind of like the cardboard sign we have here, but their cardboard sign says free trash, but they're pawning it off as a goodwill. And what I find puzzling is people are taking this trash. I've yet to see a person pull up with a pickup truck and take somebody's around the corner from me, 2 blocks. There's a guy who has a literal treadmill right by his mailbox with a free sign. That thing is not taken yet, but I have seen there's a house around the corner. They've had like glasses, they've had old decorations, they've had like tables, and they've all gotten taken. So clearly there are people driving around after midnight, because I am a night owl. I am up, and they're just putting all this garbage, and I don't know what they're doing. They're probably selling it on eBay and making a killing off of it. But I do not like running and just seeing people's trash in their front yard, because it reminds me of New York City. Now, I love New York City, but let's admit, New York City is filled with trash. You cannot walk a city block without seeing a stack of black garbage bags with mice and rats scurrying through it. And every corner has a garbage can. It's overfilled. You go down into the subways, trash. There's trash everywhere. And now it's permeating around the suburbs in which I'm living. And I'm just seeing, it's almost like, what's that fancy word they use for when white people go to urban areas where there's a lot of like blacks and Hispanics are living, and they kind of take it over and put up coffee shops and smoothies and kale. Gentrification, that's the word. We're having trash gentrification to the suburbs. I don't like it. I don't know why it's happening. It's one person. One person in my neighborhood decided, hey, I don't want to bring this to the dump and pay the $7 dump fee, so I'm going to put it in the front of my house and someone will take it. And it worked. And now everybody, instead of going to the dumpster, they're putting their stuff in the front of their house, and it's making our neighborhood look literally trashy. This trend needs to stop. If you're seeing this and your neighbor has trash with a free sign, put your trash next to their free sign. That's what we got to do. If someone has that free sign with like a table, whatever junk you have, put it right next to that sign as well. And then when your neighbor complains and go, well, hey, you put your dump out there, so we're going to put our dump till you take your dump back. You got to fight action with more action. I literally do not know how to end this trash trend in the burbs. As a runner, I like seeing trees. I like seeing the sky. I don't want to see your kids' toys that they've grown out of, and now you're like the Fisher Price toys. Like I don't want to see that. I want to see squirrels running. I want to see rabbits jumping. I want to see leaves falling. I do not want to see your Fisher Price sandbox that has like cuts in it. All right. Enough with all that. Let's get to something I found on Reddit that I discovered I have a lot of passion for. Hopefully that comes through with my voice. It comes from the subreddit Delta. That's the airline, not a personality type. Okay, help the FAs. I believe FA stands for flight attendant. These are the new uniforms the DL is rolling out for gate agents and crew. As a crew member, we have submitted thousands of surveys begging them to change it. Please help us, and in your surveys, tell them this is not the Delta look. We're begging. Well, you beg and we answer. Send all your surveys here to Verbal Graffiti, and we'll fill them out for you. We'll do fake ballots like we might do in our presidential elections. I kid. But yeah, these uniforms they're vomit. Like I look at these and like, how more conservative can you get? I've seen nuns dress have shown more skin than what you're showing in your new flight aviation uniforms. The problem with these uniforms is they're not inspiring. And what I mean by that is you need to inspire the youth of America. When you're wearing these uniforms in an airport, what you want like an 8-year-old girl, a 9-year-old girl to tug at her mom's skirt and go, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, see the flight attendant? That's who I want to be when I grow up and I'm a real woman." That's what you want to inspire. What you're not, there's a reason why boys still want to be cops and firefighters. It's because when you're walking a boy around and you see a firefighter, that it's not so much the uniform that the firefighter is wearing, it's that uniform, it defines masculinity. And boys, there's nothing we want more than to be like our daddies. You know, we see our daddy with a hammer. That's what we want to be. We see a cop being authoritative. We see a firefighter being brave and jumping into a house fire. And, you know, they're gruff and they got dirt on them and they got all the equipment. They're still just drawn to that. So that's why I think boys still want to do like physical, dangerous labor. When I look at your uniform, there's nothing about that Delta uniform that exudes femininity. That is what we're missing with your new uniforms. And that's why I'm here to tell you what you need in your uniform. I want the B man. Can you direct me to your talent manager? Because we'll get to the uniform, but all of these women, they need to be relieved of their roles ASAP. They should not be in the terminal. They should all be on the tarmac, directing traffic of all the planes, because none of these women are attractive enough to be a flight attendant for my Delta airline. And what I mean by that is, see, the airlines, there's a lot of competition up there in the air. This is not, 1960 where there was Pan Am and nobody else. We got American, we have United, we have Virgin, we have Hawaii, Canadian Airlines. There's a lot of competition. So we need to separate ourselves from the said competition. And we're not going to do it with that conservative uniform. And those women who, although they're women, 8-year-olds are not drawn to them. And it's about the future. It's about getting the next generation to want to be us, to be a proud employee of Delta. And my vision, I'm envisioning Pan Am back in the day. The B-Man is envisioning, what's that movie? Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio. Remember that one? Where he's walking down the tarmac and he's got all the hotties all the hotties on his left and his right arm, and they're young and they're attractive because he's an attractive pilot. He's charismatic. He's got masculinity. That's why the feminine women are drawn to him. That's what we need here at Delta. And I know how we're going to do it. We need to get the best recruiters, and we want to steal the business model that all the nightclubs in Las Vegas and Miami have. We've all seen, now I'm assuming since you're watching Verbal Graffiti, you've never been invited to one of these exclusive nightclubs like Live, nor have I, but we've seen images. We know the bottle ladies, right? They come out with the lingerie and they got, they're popping bottles of Grey Goose for people who buy the tables, the VIP area. Those are the babes we got to go after at Delta to be our next generation of flight attendants. So if they work at those nightclubs, popping Grey Goose on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we want them flying our planes as a flight attendant Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to all our tropical destinations and to all our high power metropolitan areas. So we're going to take our recruiters at Delta, and we're going to go to those nightclubs and proposition all these bottle ladies to come work with us. They're going to get the perks, and then we're going to go to ASU, Arizona State University, and every every college and university in the South. We're gonna converge on all the sorority houses, and we're gonna give credits and tuition reimbursement to all the hotties to come work for us at Delta. So we get all the hot babes, and then we're going to go to every major metropolitan area in the world, not just here in America, but yes, New York, LA, Mexico City, Montreal, Dublin, Hong Kong, Sri Lanka. We're going to go to London. We're going to go to India, whatever the big city is in India. Sorry, I'm terrible with geography. Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. We're going to have such a diverse group of employees that it's going to resemble Miss Universe, but more sluttier. We're going to have a sluttier version of Miss Universe for our flight attendants at Delta. And so now we have all of our ladies. We have the clientele. We have our new employees. What we need now is what they're talking about. We need our dress code. We're tossing away these nun uniforms. What I've never liked about flight attendant uniforms is that the cotton is so thick. I look at that cotton and am I wrong? But when you go on a plane, it just seems like the cotton of those dresses that the flight attendants wear, it seems like it's like the thickest cotton you could find. It seems like it's like an eighth of an inch. Like you could walk down a street in Buffalo in the middle of December and that uniform would keep you wrong. We're doing away with these. Toss these, burn them. We have our feminine women. And now we need our feminine dress. And we're going to go to some of the best designers in the world. We're going to go to Ralph Lauren. We're going to go to Alexander McQueen. We're going to go to, those are the only two designers I know. We're going to go to them and we're going to ask them to design our uniforms for us. I'm thinking a sundress. I want the fabric to be organic cotton so that it can breathe. When you're wearing those thick dresses, like on a transcontinental flight, that's cruel and unusual punishment. Yes, so I want sundresses, organic cotton, pastel colors, light greens, light purples, light pinks. It's why I wore this shirt for this episode 47. I want every airport to have I want Delta to have their own personal makeup artists and hairdressers. And I want the dresses to maybe be not too provocative, maybe 2 inches above the knees, strapless top, really not showing much cleavage unless, they're bending over to give you a spray with a sparkler in it, because they are the bottle ladies from Las Vegas. So there's always going to be some sparklers coming out of our soft drinks. I want their hair done up, maybe wear a bandana, some type of headband. And we also need Delta, we need our own perfume. So when people smell it, they think of Delta. They think of flying with us. And when we have that, when we have when we have all our hotties, our bottle service girls, our sorority girls from around America, our exotic looking employees that we find from all the tropical areas of the world, and they're wearing our new dresses, the sundresses with organic cotton and that exude femininity. When we walk down the terminal, when our Delta flight attendants walk down Terminal B, all those 8-year-old girls from before, now they're going to be tugging at their mom's pants going, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, I want to be her when I grow up." And what we'll have is a pool, a line of new Delta flight attendants for the next generation, that we won't have to go out and recruit them. They'll come to us. I need to work at Delta. I need to be the designer at Delta or one of these airlines. I also do believe, I really do believe, that is why we have a shortage of pilots, because no pilots want to bring one of these ladies into their cockpit for a little R&R. Remember that movie I mentioned earlier, like Pan Am? Like, if pilots had hot flight attendants, their people would be lining up to become pilots, no matter how much the pay was. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do to save the airlines. Hotter babes, hotter dresses, more femininity. Let's go look at some photos. I have a friend who's dealing with addiction. He has an addiction to horse. Like, literally, he goes to the sex anonymous meetings that are like similar to AA, but for sex. And his whole life he's gotten hookers, but he hasn't gotten a hooker in the past year. So his meeting sponsor gave him a chip, like a poker chip that said, 1 year free without hookers. Problem is, my friend, he keeps messaging me every week and sending me photos of hookers that he finds online. And most of these hookers are on Ferry Street in New Haven. So if you're in the New Haven area, that's where you want to go. And he keeps sending me these hookers. Now, I'm not a hooker guy, so these are just brutes that he's sending me photos of. If you're thinking about the movie Boogie Nights, these women look like these hookers, sex workers, they look like the sex workers in the end of the movie, not the beginning of Boogie Nights. When they're all worn out and the industry has pushed them aside and they're in the back alleyways. These are the women he's sending me photos of, and he keeps asking me. He's like, "Hey, B-Man, should I get with these hookers? I want to get with a hooker so bad. I want to get with a hooker so bad." Now, I've never paid for sex. Well, we all pay for sex, but I don't I'm not like paying for sex that way. I have given it a lot of thought, and it's just not for me, at least not yet. I do envision a time when I'm not able to pull, probably, I don't know, early retirement age, maybe 55. I'm not going to go like street hooker, sex worker. I'm going to go high-end escort. So a few times a year, I don't know, I'll pay whatever the fee is, a couple $1,000 with inflation. Then maybe it's a few $1,000s. But the reason why I bring this up is because I would not make for a great sponsor, because I keep telling my friend to get the hooker. Because even though they look like brutes, they look better than the chip he showed me. If I had to choose between a little poker chip that told me, "Hey, I'm 1 year free without paying for sex," and an actual hooker, I'd throw the chip away and give the hooker $75. And I keep telling my friend, just throw away the chip, go get the hook. I'm just so over you sending me these messages. Just get the hook and tell me about the experience. But hey, he stayed strong. I think he's actually, so it was a year in February. So February. So he's almost 17. He's going on 18 months without a hooker. So I'm proud of him. I'm afraid that he keeps asking me advice, and it's like, dude, go to somebody else, because I have not been giving you the right advice for about the last 4 months. He's been sending me all these photos. All right, moving on to another weird topic. This comes from the subreddit Nudism. Anyone ever run a nude clothing optional 5K? I am not a nudist, but I absolutely love being naked when it's practical. Usually when I'm home alone or it's just me and my wife and the kids are gone. I am a 45 male, married for 21 years to my beautiful wife who is also not a nudist. Anyway, I stumbled across the Bare Butts 5K in Centerville, Indiana, as I was searching online for nearby races. I am definitely interested, but I have some concerns. Oh, do you? First, I'm afraid my wife will think I'm crazy for even considering this. She is pretty open-minded, but this feels like a big step. That's because it is. Second, I am a high school teacher. I know the 5K is held in a private nudist retreat pretty far from where I live, and that no cell phones or cameras are allowed, but I can't shake the fear that if somehow got out that I did this, I could have consequences at work, maybe even be asked to resign. Any advice or encouragement would greatly be appreciated. TIA. I believe that stands for thanks in advance. Key rule here, if you have to say that you're not a nudist, then you are definitely a nudist in denial. Never in my life have I uttered the terms, I am not a nudist, because I'm not. So therefore, I've never had to proclaim my not being one. The only time I ever think about nudists are when cornballs like you bring it up or bring it to my attention. You're definitely a nudist, so get over that. Come out of the closet with your nudism and leave your clothes behind. All right, enough with the hacky jokes. Keep it along. Nothing makes the B-Man shudder more, gives me more the heebie-jeebies than knowing that there's a 5K nudist road race in bumfuck Indiana. Now, I'm sure you and your beautiful wife from Indiana are both stunningly looking, especially when you're naked. But I gotta imagine everybody else in this race looks like a stalk of corn. There's not somebody you'd actually... They don't even need to say that phones and cameras are not allowed because nobody, even the nudist of nudists wants to take photos of the ugliness that's going to preside at this race. All that nude, you don't need to take a photo of it because just the image is going to be ingrained in your head, and you are going to have PTSD and have to seek out therapy for years to come after this race. Not that I'm saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying know what you're getting into before you sign up. Because being at home with your beautiful Indiana wife naked when the kids aren't around, that's one thing. But going out into the real world with hundreds of other nudists sweating side by side as you try to get your personal best in a 5K, that's a completely different matter. Whoa. Nudists are an odd breed. I think we can all admit, I don't think I'm going off the ledge when I say nudists are oddballs. They're more, I'll describe nudists as hippies with an extra Y chromosome. They're a bit too hippie, a little bit too much peace, love, and harmony. When I envision a hippie nudist, I envision a hippie that puts the flower in the barrel of the cop's gun while also teabagging his gun on his hip's side. That's what I mean when they're a little too hippie. They take hippie to fullest extent, and it makes all of us normies a little uncomfortable. And I don't consider myself a normie. I mean, look at this. Look at what verbal graffiti is. I am as non-normie as there might be without being an illegal one. But when it comes to nudist, I am a normie. And to admit, I am nudist adjacent. What I mean by that is during the summer, I have my shirt off all the time. I am a shirtless guy. I mow my lawn shirtless. I run without my shirt on. A few days ago, I walked my mom's dog with a bathing suit on after going swimming in her pool. I just walked barefoot, bathing suit, topless, pool water dripping off of me around the block with the dog. Everyone within a mile radius of me has seen me with my shirt off. And they probably don't think I wear a shirt from like May through the end of August. But I need that barrier covering my junk, even if it's just a little bit of cotton, that little bit of fabric. I need something to protect the elements from my Mr. Perfect, my balls. I will always have some shorts on as an adult. Now, I will admit, when I was in college and post-college, I was a naked guy at the party. I was a guy who wasn't I wasn't the guy who got naked. I was a guy who was naked throughout the party. I'd take my clothes off, especially if it was a pool party, and they would not come back on until I woke up from passing out. But again, that was a phase I went through. I am not a nudist, but I do sympathize with you, but I'm not one, and I'm going to judge you for this. Nudist, we should treat nudists the same way. Now, maybe this was a myth, but the same way we treated people back in the day who had leprosy. I think we took all the people with leprosy and we put them on their like own island and we segregated them from all the healthy people. That's what we should be doing with all the nudists in the world. Like, enough with all these nudist colonies that are like all over the country. There's too much of a risk that you're going to drive and find yourself in a nudist colony that you didn't know was one. What I suggest the U.S. government do is we designate one city in the country that is nudist, whether that be somewhere in Texas or California or Florida or Louisiana, somewhere down south where it's warm. That is a nudist city. They have their own town council. They have their own brewery. They have their own 5K races, their own farmer markets. They live there. They live and let live. And everybody in the country who is a normie knows to avoid that city like it's the sun. Don't have your bachelor party there. Do not have your bachelorette party there. Do not have a meetup with your friends to go golfing at that nudist city. Should you run the race? So that was the main question, though. Absolutely. Absolutely run a race. If I'm a big believer in, if you have a thought in your head, see it through. I had a thought of verbal graffiti. I saw it through. I wanted to be a comedian. I go on stage and I do stand-up comedy. If you keep looking up these races, the only way to kick it, to get it out of your mind, is to actually convince your wife to do it. So yeah, sign up for the race. I'm sure you can convince your wife to do it, and do not speak of it to anybody else in your life for the rest of your life. One more thing I want to bring up. Of course, you're a teacher. Of course, you're a nudist, non-nudist as a teacher. I swear, this is my little conspiracy theory. I think all the Catholics, we could admit, there's a lot of pedophilia within the Catholic Church. There are a lot of priests that diddle kids. It was going on for centuries, but they've gotten caught the last, 20, 30 years. The Catholic Church has had to pull it back. And now all those priests, there aren't as many altar boys as there once was back in the heyday of all their pervertedness. So there's nobody to violate. So instead of going into priesthood, all the perverts are going into teaching. I mean, we hear so often the teachers having sexual relationships with their students. Of course, it makes sense. Follow where the kids are. So teachers are where the perverts go now instead of the Catholic Church, and that's why you're a teacher, because you're you're a hippie with an extra chromosome. You're an oddball. You're a non-normie. You're looking up road races to run with everything showing. You should honestly, you shouldn't be asked to resign. You should resign yourself. If you're running these races, you should just hand in your resignation letter and find a profession where kids aren't at. I think we can all get on board with that bit of advice there. To you, to your beautiful wife from Indiana, and to everybody else, go suck a fat one.